Well, a massive announcement from Nigel Farage yesterday that he'll be stepping down and away from party politics, and I'll have his full statement at the end of this video, so if you haven't seen it yet, please do stick around. But Nigel, of course, someone who's achieved so much, the most influential and successful British politician of my lifetime, undoubtedly someone that I've had the honour and pleasure of working with over the years, including serving alongside Nigel as one of the last ever British MEPs. But a real bombshell of an announcement, really. Signals how far we've come in terms of Brexit, in terms of course, leaving the European Union. And Nigel speaking to the Telegraph saying, just explaining his decision. So there is no going back. Brexit is done. That won't be reversed. I know I've come back once or twice when people thought I'd gone, but this is it. It's done. It's over. And he says that now's the time for me to say I've knocked on my last door. I'm going to step down as the leader of Reform UK. I have no executive power at all. I'm quite happy to have an honorary one, but party politics, campaigning, being involved in elections, that is now over for me because I've achieved the one thing I set out to do, to achieve the independence of the UK. But crucially as well, Nigel says, I'm not packing up. I'm not going off to play the golf course 4 afternoons a week and have a bitter afterwards. That's not happening. And he points out that he's built up a massive social media reach and obviously having huge support across the country, and that being reflected in his online following. But as you know, I pointed out in my tweet responding to this news yesterday, I just said, most successful and effective British politician of my lifetime, changed the course of history. Well done, Nigel, and thank you. And just think how many politicians can actually say that what they set out to achieve against all the odds, that they actually fought and they won. It's a pretty small list, isn't it? Guido Fawkes also paying tribute, saying tonight Nigel Farage formally steps down from party politics, the most influential politician of the modern era, without ever entering Parliament. It's a quite astonishing achievement when you really think about it. And as Nigel explained, this is why I'm standing down as leader of Reform UK, who continue to play his part through the media, social media and new projects. Out his thanks to the many millions that helped change the course of history forever. Again, reiterating that he is taking up the position of honorary president of Reform UK and will leave the party in the capable hands of Richard Tice, who I believe will be taking over as party leader. So guys, do let me know in the comments below what you make of this news. What would you like to see Nigel Farage do next? Because I can promise you one thing, you'll be seeing lots more of Nigel Farage, I'm sure. Here's his statement from yesterday.
I've been thinking really hard over the course of the last couple of months about nearly 30 years that I've been involved in active politics. It all started in October 1990 when somebody came into the bar in the city and said we joined the exchange rate mechanism. We pegged the pound against a basket of European currencies. John Major was the Chancellor that did it, and I was furious. I knew it wouldn't work, and sure enough, it led to record bankruptcies and house repossessions. Then we saw the Maastricht Treaty in 1993, a big Tory rebellion. But in the end, John Major used a confidence motion, and like good little boys, they all went through the lobby and voted for a treaty that they'd opposed in public. And that for me was the moment when I said, that's it. I've got to do something. Even if no one votes for me, I'm going to put myself up at the next general election. And I was fortunate to find some like-minded people, and UKIP was formed out of the Anti-Federalist League in September 1993. Within a few weeks, a Tory MP had died. There was a by-election in Eastleigh, and I found myself in a village hall in a place called Hursley between Winchester and Eastleigh, speaking to an audience, my first ever political speech. I have to admit, looking back on it, I was terrified. And really, I mean, the truth of it is, I never, ever stopped campaigning. The issue that got me to leave business was our membership of the European Union. In 1999, we had European elections contested under proportional representation. So I found myself going to the European Parliament. Indeed, I thought the day I left last year, I'd actually been there in 4 different decades. So it was a long, hard fight. It was very difficult to get people to understand what sovereignty meant. Very difficult to get people to believe the extent to which we'd given away the ability to govern our country. And actually, it was sort of political heresy to even suggest that we should leave the European Union. We were treated as if we were the wild men from the hills. And then, of course, in 2004, the doors were opened unconditionally, first to 8 and then to 10 former communist countries. The government said an extra 13,000 people a year would come. Well, we all know that hundreds of thousands did. So this has been my life's work, getting us out of the European Union. And when in 2016, we won the referendum 52-48, I then took that moment to say, look, I think I've done everything I can possibly do. I know the Conservative government will not want to use me in any way at all, although I'd like to have been used. And I stood down as leader of UKIP and I said, I want my life back. But of course, it wasn't a completely clean break because I was still an MEP. I was still leading a group in the European Parliament. But I did start to develop media, extended social media, and that was the way that my life was going. Then, of course, when Mrs May and her government absolutely betrayed all the promises that they'd made to the British people, and when I saw the Westminster establishment doing their utmost to overturn the result of the referendum, to make us vote again, that was when I knew something had to be done. And I formed the Brexit Party, and thank goodness I did. I think if I hadn't done that, which led to us winning the European elections despite only being launched for a few weeks with over 5 million votes, I think we wouldn't have left. But I'm pretty certain we wouldn't have left. So all of that was thoroughly worthwhile. And it was the first time ever in British politics when people have rallied to the colours as quickly as they did. I remember watching the website and seeing the £25 donations coming in, several every minute, ping, ping, ping. It was astonishing. We then, of course, led the national opinion polls in the summer of 2019, and that pretty much guaranteed that Boris Johnson would become the leader of the Conservative Party with a Get Brexit Done message. And we've got Brexit. It's not perfect. Northern Ireland has been effectively cut off from the rest of the country. French boats and trawlers still operating up to 6 miles from the British coast. And difficulties, some import-export difficulties, although I'm sure they will be ironed out in time. But with the vaccine, we've now seen the benefit. On reflecting back over nearly 30 years, the issue that got me into politics, and if it hadn't been for this, I would never have even stood for local council, was our membership of the European Union and the fact that the entirety of our political class and then media class were all in favour of continued membership. That became my life's goal, and it took over the best part of 3 decades of my life. We've done it. We've achieved it. And for me, I feel my political career, in the sense of actively leading a political party, fighting election campaigns, such as ones that are coming up in May this year, I think now's the moment for me to say, look, I have done it. I guess in some ways, it's a repeat of what I said in 2016 when I said I want my life back. So before this election campaign starts for May, now is the minute, the right moment for me to say that I'm not going to go on as leader of Reform UK. I support everything it stands for, and whilst I won't have any executive control or responsibility, I'm quite happy to have an honorary position within the party, and that indeed is what I'll do. And I'll hand the leadership over to Richard Tice. And I hope, Richard, you know what you're taking on. I think he does, because he saw it at first hand as chairman of the Brexit Party. But leading a political party, leading one that challenges the establishment, it really is a 7-day-a-week job. And you find, huge sections of the media really vehemently opposed to you. I mean, they say things, they write things they just wouldn't do about people in the Labour and Conservative parties. So Richard has got a very big, tough challenge, but I know he's filled with bags of enthusiasm. I'll be there for help if he needs it. But this is not me retiring. Yes, I'm getting out of active party politics. I think I've done my bit. But I'm not retiring. Oh no, goodness gracious me, no. There are lots of other things that I want to fight for and campaign for. In particular, the increasing influence of the Chinese Communist Party over our whole way of life. And once again, the British establishment effectively have sold out to it. And I think that's a big education campaign that needs to happen. And I'm going to fight for that. The indoctrination of our children at school. It starts from the age of 7 or 8 and goes all the way through to university. We're not teaching young people critical thinking. They're being propagandized politically. And I think in many cases, encouraged to hate this country and everything it's ever stood for. And I want to fight that. And there are some environmental causes that I care strongly about, such as the health of our oceans. And let's get planting trees. Everybody talks about it, but nobody actually does it. So I'm going to battle and fight for all of those things that I believe in very, very passionately. I'm going to continue with a career in media, in social media. As many of you know, I've taken YouTube pretty seriously over the course of the last year. I'm not going away. I'm still going to fight and battle for change. We got Brexit. There's an awful lot more to do. But from me, after nearly 30 years, 1993, when I first put myself up for election in Eastleigh, for me, that's enough of active politics. And you know something? I've actually achieved what I set out to do. And I don't think there are many people in politics that can ever say that. And whilst much of it was a very long, hard road, not just for me, but for those around me, at the end of the day, it really was worth it. And none of it could have happened without thousands of you, tens of thousands of you, standing in local council elections, donating money, going out delivering leaflets, knocking on doors, manning street stalls. Tens of thousands of people have assisted me to do this. And out there in the country, millions of people, millions and millions, probably between 6 and 7 million people at some point voted for parties that I led. They had the confidence in me and the team around me to do that. And that is what completely changed British politics. That is what got us back our independence. I'd love to come and meet you all. It's not possible, but now really is the moment for me to say a massive, massive thank you to all of you who put your trust in me. And we did. Took a long time, but we did deliver. Thank you.